Alrighty then. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and fast forward to the 90-second mark. Let me move. Let me move this. There we go. I like that better. Go ahead and move to the 90-second mark, and that is when we will start officially. So many people jumping on. Right, sup, Silent Wizard. What's going on? Go ahead and keep those hearts coming. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Dub, what's up? I don't know what that was. That was just my thing. I just did it. Bob, what's up? Crispy, what's going on? We're gonna start in what would that be? 40 seconds. I'm sorry, I'm a minute late. I'm sorry. You know, YouTube makes me take a picture, and I always forget. So then it's like I go to hit live, and it says, "Okay, now let's wait and take a picture." And I'm like, you know. But I like the new background. Oh yeah, thank you. I got that issue of the curl, but I will fix that. That'll be fixed by next week. Oh, I might have kind of fixed it. It'll be better next week. I'm changing something up. So, yeah, I thought it was time for an upgrade. We're going to start in 20 seconds. 20 seconds. What's up, Berserk? What's going on? It is hot out there right now. We have YouTube Live. We have Periscope Live. We have Facebook Live. We have Twitter Live. Flav Roll, what's up? We're starting 3, 2, 1, and welcome to Valley of the Suns Live, the weekly edition. My name is Adam Maines. I'm your host. I'm your site editor. I am, as always, your friend of the sun. So I wanted to talk about two things today in particular. So it'll be a little bit of an abbreviated one. I should let you all know, I should let you know that I've told you guys this in the past. I'm a musician. I get hired for gigs. I got hired for a gig tonight. I got to run straight after this show out to a gig. I don't even know where it is. I got to look it up, and I got to get everything packed up. So, Suns are going to win. So the two topics I want to talk about is the over-under. I want to talk about known player ratings. So, Suns are going to win 34. I like that number. You know, I really do think that the Suns, 21 is what they won last year, and then 23 the year before, if I recall correctly. Those were tanking numbers. Those weren't fair. They were playing D-League teams. They weren't losing on purpose. They were trying to... how many times in the last 2 years did the Suns run out the youngest starting lineups in the history of the league? I mean, they were constantly besting themselves for that. That's on purpose. Especially when they were sitting Tyson Chandler for all those games. They even sat Devin Booker. They sat TJ Warren. They sat Josh Jackson at times. I mean, like, there was some strategic tanking to make sure that things went their way. And it worked, you know. Okay, so that said, even though the Western Conference is ridiculously tough, I think 28.5, which is, according to one, at least, bookmaker, I think is her name, in Vegas, said that's the over-under. So 34 is a really bad year. That's a string of nearly a decade losing. Yes. Sup, Stoop? Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a bad year, but it is a 13-game improvement. So there's that. So, I mentioned on Twitter to a couple people. By the way, we're 3 minutes in, so please go ahead and please heart, please like, please retweet, text everybody, and let them know that we're going Valley of the Suns live tonight until about 7:30, 7:40. I'll let you know depending on how things are pacing. Sup, Wits? I think what is key to this season in terms of the over-under, is obviously its health. You know, it's like, are they playing everybody they should be playing? Are the veterans all playing? Are they benching anybody? Certainly Brandon Knight, if he's healthy. To be honest, I don't like Ayton much already. It is... Well, I mean, to be honest, you're very sweet. That is that's really the key, because I think with health, the Suns are not going to tank. They want to try to push, especially because, you know, now as of this coming year, the draft lottery, if you finish in the bottom 3, then you've got a 33% chance of winning the lottery, or at least your odds. I take that back. Your odds are equal to one another. Actually, obviously, somebody from 4 to 13, I think, they still have some odds to make to win the lottery. But at least if you finish in the top 3, you've got equal odds to one another. So there is that. It's very, very simple. Similar to the way the league used to do it in the mid '90s, where the number one best team had 15 ping pong balls, the number one worst team had 15 ping pong balls, second worst at 14, third worst at 13. Again, I forget precisely. It's 15 now. So I think back then it was 13. And then all the way down to the team with the best record in the lottery only has one ping pong ball. And if you recall that in 1993, after the Magic won the lottery in 92, they select Shaq. They then go 41-41. They're the last team, the best recorded team to miss the playoffs, and yet they win the lottery with only one ball. I'm going to talk about that in a second, Joe. These are the two topics I definitely want to hit on. You'll have my opinion in one moment, I promise. So at this point, I don't think the Suns are going to tank. Now, does that mean that they're going to lose a lot? Yeah, probably. But I think the key to the season, what makes it a 34-win season at least somewhat successful, is the fact if they do not get blown out quite as much. I mean, I'm going to expect Golden State to still wipe the floor with them. I'm going to assume, probably Houston's going to wipe the floor with them again. LA might do it a couple times. Philly is probably still going to be tough. Boston's going to be very difficult. So those teams are still, if the Suns steal one or two out of, so 4 from Golden State, 4 from LA, I think it's 3 from Houston, so that's 11, then 2 from Philly, 2 from Boston, that's 15 games. If the Suns steal 2 games out of those 15, I mean, it's a step in the right direction, certainly. But I think the key to making a 34-win season is just not getting blown out as much. If they don't have any 30-plus point blowouts, that means that even in big losses, 27, 28 points, those still aren't like those kind of heartbreaking, overwhelming 35, 40, 50-plus losses that they had last year. Thanks, brother. Yeah, brand new. I love it. So if they can win 34, I can still see that it's been a success. And the thing is, I can see them getting close to 40. I'm doing well, check. How are you? I can see them still getting close to 40. So regardless, I would put them, I would definitely bet the over on the Suns, 28.5. I'm going to be a supreme optimist and say we're going 500. So obviously 500 would be 41 and 41. And I'm going to write a post about this in the next couple of days. I could draw a direct correlation, 42 wins, so good, above 500. That'd be even better. Just to even be, have a winning record, that'd be sweet. If we don't make the playoffs, we'd rather have 30 to 40 wins and get another pick that's high, so we can. Yeah. The thing though is that I don't want to phrase it. I'm sick and tired of losing. I think most fans are sick and tired of losing. Not only that, but if they're not going to finish in the top 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, those aren't. You can still find quality picks. I mean, hell, Devin Booker was 13th. So it's like those kinds of quality picks can still be found. The thing about that, though, is just that odds are you're not going to find somebody great. So I kind of still just think win. Just win as much as you can. How do you think Booker will improve, and do you think an MVP is possible? I think he's going to improve significantly overall. And is he going to win an MVP? Probably not. He probably won't even be like a top 5 finalist. I think in order for them to be a top 5 finalist, for him to be a top 5 finalist, the Suns would have to be in the playoffs. Easy. And probably a 4 or 5 seed, and him averaging close to 30 points. A win for this team is 40 wins. But okay, so if a win for the team is 40, what about 35? I mean, 35 and no blowouts. I don't want to lose either, but if it's too late, we might have to. I mean, if they're 20 games out of it with 10 games left, in other words, if they're out of the playoff hunt very early, I could see them strategically resting again, but I still think they're going to try to stay as competitive as possible. I really do. I think their intention is to make sure that this team learns how to win. Let's forget about picks for us. Try to start winning. Absolutely. Oh, that was going to be my other point about, so getting say the 6th through 15th pick, let's just say 6 through 10, that's going to be an okay player. I mean, potentially you can find another Devin Booker. You can find some talent there. Odds are you're not. But my point to that then is just that they're still going to be looking for a trade, in which case that pick is probably expendable anyway, as to probably a couple of the players. And that's really through a trade is we're going to find that next level talent to help really push the team over the top in 2019-20. I don't want to tank and lose. I think we have a roster to push for the playoffs. I think they have a roster to push for the playoffs if healthy. But when I say push for the playoffs, I mean they're not eliminated in January. And even though they probably haven't been officially eliminated by January, they've still been eliminated so early. Everybody just knew they're out of it. And if they can be in the hunt come March, I think that'd be a big deal. Zion Williamson is out of the question. I hadn't seen anything about him, but he never played a game of college basketball, so I really never put any stock in what he could potentially end up being in the pros, just because we've just. I hate the fact that I honestly hate the fact that the NBA is considering making high school players, seniors, graduates eligible. I just hate that. I really feel like it muddies up the league way too much with poor talent. How do I feel about the Cannon signing? It is a feel-good story, but it's also they needed a veteran point guard, and they were always going to get one. I think that's perfect. Team image and wins plus great destination could be free agency. Maybe I don't. Free agency to me is not about getting the star players. It's about getting those good role players. But you already have to have the star players in place. Steve Nash is an aberration. Why haven't the Suns been able to find another star like Steve Nash in 2004? Because those guys don't become available often and not already have a targeted destination in mind. I mean, you just got to consider Tom Chambers, again, an aberration. Think about that. Between Tom Chambers and Steve Nash, there were no superstars signed in between. I mean, I think they go for role players. Because I think the star player gets traded for, and I think it's a package, which then opens up a couple spots on the roster. And that's then when they go after, a guy like Raja Bell. Going back to like what I was just saying. So from 80, what was it, 87, I think it was, when they signed Tom Chambers, the summer of 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 1. No, it's the summer of 88. In the summer of 98, when the Suns got Tom Chambers, he was a star, and then Steve Nash in 04. They were stars. Think about it. There was a 16-year gap. We're now 14 years since the signing of Steve Nash. Those kinds of guys don't become available. Kevin Durant is an anomaly. LeBron James is an anomaly. Is this backwards? No, this is forward. Interesting. I'll bet if I inverted and flipped it around, it actually be forward on screen. Sorry, I just suddenly kind of glanced up and read that Phoenix is backwards. That will be huge if we try to make it in the playoffs because he and Booker will be the backcourt. Of course, yeah, Knight's going to be a big deal because he's going to be a veteran point guard with experience, and that's a big deal. And they didn't have that last year. They had that for 3 games, games 1, 2, and 3. Chambers would be 88, not 90. Did I say 98? I'm sorry, I meant 88. Because it was a 16-year gap. But having Knight healthy, that's a big deal. Because he's a veteran point guard, and that's what they needed. It was shown in the summer league. They needed like a kind of a know-how point guard. I think Isaiah Cannon would have been a better point guard. Would have been great. So, brother, they are so close, man. Isaiah Cannon would have been better for the Suns in the summer league. Book will be better than Nash, potentially. I mean, I suppose it depends on defining better, but he could be up there as great as, he can be that great. We're 10 minutes in, so go ahead and please heart, please like, please retweet. We're live on Facebook, we're live on Periscope, we're live on Twitter, we're live on YouTube. Thanks, brother. I do need to invert it so you guys can read it the right direction. I just realized that the video is flipped, and I wasn't thinking. We need Josh Childress and Hakeem Warwick if they're going to make a playoff push. No, they don't. I know that's sarcasm. I love you, Doug, but no. What do you think should get... Who do you think should get more minutes? Okobo, Shaq, or both get the same? Shaq needs to get more. He's got more experience. I want to win. It will be the big to make the playoffs very potentially. What's your prediction for Ayton's stat line? Oh, I did that a couple weeks ago. I want to say he averages a double-double. He'll be the first Suns rookie to average double-double. I want to say... I said 18 and 11 or 18 and 10. What do I think D-Book's ceiling is? Well, his ceiling is Jordan. What is the likelihood of what he ends up? I think he ends up being, in his prime, a regular 25-plus point scorer. And, 30. What he did last year, I think, is kind of going to be his norm. I really do. I think he's going to peak at around 27, 28, 29, 30 points a game. I don't truthfully think he'll ever really average 30. I mean, he might, like, this year, because there's not going to be a whole lot dependent on, offense dependent upon anybody else, really. But, I mean, I think what he did last year is going to be the norm for the next 7 years. Are the Suns getting up in the ladder again? Very likely, although I'm certainly hoping not. 8-time All-Star. Oh, boy. I think once Booker makes an All-Star game once, he won't miss it for the rest of his prime. And if he's healthy throughout, he might kind of be one of those legends that just always make it, even if they have an off year. I mean, if I recall correctly, 96, 97, somewhere around there. I think it was 96, 97. Penny Hardaway was voted an All-Star starter, and the first game of his season was the All-Star game. So, I mean, he won it on name brand alone, and I think Booker could do the same thing. If he makes an All-Star game once, he'll be a regular from then on. B-Knight's line averages games played this season. Oh, I'm hoping for 75-plus games played, because I think he's going to be healthy. Averages, I think I said 14 or 16 points, I think it was. 16 points, 35% from 3, and let's go 6.5, 7 assists. It depends on the offense, how that runs, how smooth it is, and how much movement there is, truly. I mean, because that's kind of a calling card of Igor Kokoskov, is that his offenses have a lot of movement, a lot of fluidity, a lot of passing, and I think B-Knight and Book are going to have a lot of opportunities to pass the ball and rack up some assists. Oh yeah, I think it would be great. We're 15 minutes in. Go ahead and please heart, please like, please retweet. So what I think Aiton's ceiling is if he works hard. Again, I'm gonna go just pie in the sky. If Booker can be if Booker can be Jordan, I'll say Aiton can be Shaq. But it really, I just think that their primes are gonna be very consistent, 20 plus. Booker's gonna be 25 to 27 points a game in his prime, 24 to 27, excuse me, and then Aiton's prime is gonna be just double doubles averages. Close to 20 and 12 kind of thing. Any word on Bender, Chris, TJ developing a killer 3-point? I haven't heard anything, but boy, oh boy, do I hope so. Add Josh Jackson to that list too. They all need to work on their threes. Their threes were terrible. To quote the great Charles Barkley, they're just terrible. All right, so the other subject I wanted to discuss, and certainly ask anything I will answer. The other subject I wanted to spend some time on though was NBA 2K ratings. So the only Phoenix Suns rating that we have so far is DeAndre Ayton, and they haven't rated as a 79. Nobody else on the team has been announced. I'm actually surprised Devin Booker hasn't been announced yet either. But just to point out, the rating from last year, and I believe it's the players, he was a 79. Which, there is a stigma to being in the 70s, I have to point out. Because think about this. Alex Len, at the end of last year, was rated as a 77. So think about that. Alex Len was rated as a 77 at the end of the year. DeAndre Ayton comes in as a 79. So there's a... To me, 79, there's a stigma that, like, you're in the 70s. Favorite season was 92-93. Booker should be an 89. Okay, so Booker ended last year as an 86. So he could very well be an 89 to 90. I would guess that 90, they try to find a way to reserve that for the very upper, top upper tier guys. But if Booker finishes this year again, 24 to 27 points, 38% from three, 4 or 5 boards, 4 or 5 assists, I think he'll definitely get up there. Did Lonzo? Yeah, I believe Lonzo. Somebody told me, one of the writers told me that Lonzo and Fultz started out as 80s. So Booker can, yes, brand new background. Although I just realized a little bit ago I got to flip it, so that way you guys can read it the right direction. I want to say, well, you know what? Actually, hold on. I think the way I can do this is current NBA teams. Lakers. I want to say he started out as an 80. Lonzo finished as a 78. One of my writers was positive he started out as an 80. He finished as an 80, as a 78. And then Fultz for Philadelphia. Fultz started out, again, somebody said as an 80. He dropped to a 77. So, again, I feel like Ayton as a 79 is just too low. Now, granted, an 80 would have been perfect, I think. 80, 81 would have been perfect. But it's so variable. What would it take for the Suns to make the playoffs? Somebody who is currently expected to make the playoffs this year to drop below the Suns. Yeah, I know, Dub. I don't know exactly, why, but Devin Booker is the second greatest shooting guard in the NBA, currently behind James Harden. Second best. You can certainly make that argument. I don't know if I want to argue against you off the top of my head, but you can certainly make that argument. Booker finished last year as an 86. They'll announce the schedule this month. I've read that it'll happen this month. I'm gonna guess 2 to 3 weeks. Anyone you wish the Suns would have added this summer that they didn't? I'm gonna just go small. I wish they could have found a way to keep Alan Williams, but it's not a make or break thing. Other than that, I kind of wish they had a better backup point guard than Isaiah Cannon, but at least Cannon, and I think he only was like 9 games last year, 12 games. Maybe it's 18 or something like that. He looked good. If Book is efficient, yeah, I agree, 27 points. So here's the other thing. TJ Warren ended the year as an 81. Josh Jackson ended the year as a 78. So, you've got Book as an 86. Again, how they ended the year, Book is an 86, Warren is an 81. Ayton comes in this year as a 79. Shaq Harrison, they're asking for his rating, they gave him a 69. Allen's mom is the Phoenix Police Chief. Yep. Alan Williams finished at 75, and he only played like 10 games. In order for us to make the playoffs, I think we need to have at least 3 or 4 producing starting players in the starting lineup. Well, so hopefully Brandon Knight is productive, but you're gonna probably have. Does Cannon even make the team? At the moment, I think Cannon makes the team as the backup point guard. If he's healthy, yeah. Because I think they're going to want him. He's at least a veteran. He's got more experience than Shaq Harrison. Shaq is an exciting third point guard. I don't want Shaq to be the backup point guard. Isaiah Cannon is at least experienced. He even has playoff experience, if I recall correctly. I'm going to pull it up right now. Oops. C-A-N-N-A-N. Does he have playoff experience? Doesn't he with Houston? Yes, he does. Chicago. He started 2 games in the playoffs. 3 games in 2017. Started 2, averaged 11.7 points, only 1.3 assists, but for whatever it's worth. So yeah, I'd rather him be the backup point guard, and that's why Cannon's coming in as the vet. That's all it is. Think of him; he's Nigel Knight. You can suffer with him starting a couple of games, although Knight wasn't a bad point guard at all. Let me get his stats. And especially because he had to start a bunch of games under KJ. 35. Yeah, the thing about this, Nigel Knight started 35 games in 92-93, and the Suns still won 62. Better, especially, did the Suns trade for a backup point guard this season? Yes, I think they do. If Isaiah Cannon can't hang, or if he gets hurt again, I do think so. They'll find a way. I wonder if Booker will be upset if he has an MVP season and they don't miss the. Wait, if he has an MVP season and they don't miss the playoffs, I think you mean make the playoffs. By the way, we're 20 minutes in. Go ahead and please heart, please like, please retweet, live on Twitter, Periscope, Facebook, and YouTube, because he said he wouldn't miss. I'm serious. I see what you're saying. If he has an MVP season, but they missed the playoffs because he said they would never miss him again. Yeah, I think he'd be disappointed. But again, if he sees growth, I'm sure he'll appreciate it. Now, I think he'll be disappointed if next offseason they still don't do anything and trade a free agency to bring in a star. Even if they miss the playoffs this year and that's MVP season, if they went 35 to 42 games, let's say, or 35 to 41, and they're competitive throughout the year, and things just kind of didn't go their way because they're so young, I think he'll understand it. But then I think he'll be upset if they go into 2019-20 and don't make a move for a star on any level. And again, I say free agency because certainly it's possible, but it really will be trade. That is, I think, you'll hear him grumble comes. I was going to say spring training, come training camp. So, I wanted to go back to the rating. So I go back. My personal opinion is that the Ayton is a little bit low. I think they could have found a way to make him a fair 80 to 81. But as the writers were saying over here, the NBA 2K might have kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit by rating Lonzo and Markelle Fultz a little bit too high. Does this new coach upset me? Yes. No, he really does. Now, let me say this. Back in 03-04, the Suns started the year with Frank Johnson as head coach. They had made the playoffs in 03. Then they just tanked it in 03-04. And they fired Frank Johnson, and they brought in Mike D'Antoni, who had only been a head coach for a short time with Denver prior to Phoenix, if I recall correctly. And I remember vividly thinking, he sucked. The Suns sucked. They didn't get any better. Why are they going to keep Mike D'Antoni? So thank God I wasn't general manager. At least if I was, I would have known better. But thank God nobody called me and said, hey, should we keep Mike D'Antoni? They're like, hell no. They weren't any better. Obviously they knew what they were doing. He was probably the hire all along. They probably brought him in to say, hey, we're gonna fire Frank soon. So you're gonna be the head coach at some point. So that saying, I also thought the Suns should have kept Jay Triano. I kind of saw Jay Triano as the Mike D'Antoni kind of light, if you will, in that he could come into this situation, could sit through that year, they bring him back, and he'd be good. I think by next year we will have McCall starting small forward unless Ariza signs for less. Ariza's not coming back. A point guard or great bench pieces or a new power forward. Probably a new power forward. They definitely need a veteran point guard, but yeah, if Brandon Knight doesn't work out, because remember, Brandon Knight is still on a contract for 2019-20 as well, so he's here for 2 years, and it's not a team, there's no option there, it is his contract. So unless they move him, then, that's my point. Thoughts on the 07 Suns? So 04, 05, 06, 07. Oh, that was the Shaq year. At the time I was okay with keeping Shaq, or trading for Shaq. I was okay with trading Marion for Shaq because it felt like they needed to shake things up. It just didn't work out. But so back to the Mike D'Antoni point, Jay Triano. All that said, I thought they should have fired Mike, not brought him in, that is, after interim, and I thought that they should have extended Jay Triano. That said, having Igor, the pedigree he comes from, he's supposedly both an offensive, defensive, at least coaching savant. His offenses look fantastic, a lot of movement. His defense, he comes from great defensive pedigree. He was he was one of the assistant coaches for the Detroit Pistons when they won their championship. He was there was another team before Houston. And Houston under Mike D'Antoni is a good defensive team. Not Houston, Utah. Excuse me. Houston's the good defensive team. There was somebody in between, I thought. But anyway, so he's got a defensive pedigree. He's an offensive guy. He's supposedly a point guard whisperer, if you will. So I just have high hopes for him because of his background and how long it took him to become a head coach. I think that plays into it. It's like kind of the Bruce Arians effect. I think he's going to be good because he's going to have a lot to prove. Do you think the Suns will make any moves before the season starts? If they do, minor. No, 07 was the year we lost the Spurs in the second round. The Suns were 61-21. Oh, so what's my thought on that? Well, I think that David Stern needed to cut out all the palaver, and he should not have suspended Amari Stoudemire or Boris Diaw. And if he did, he should have suspended Tim Duncan, because Tim Duncan left the bench at one point. His feet clearly stepped on at the court, and he wasn't suspended, but Amari Stoudemire and Boris Diaw were. Because... why'd you bring that up, brother? Why'd you bring that up? That's like bringing up Paxson's 3 and 93. Go ahead, please retweet. I'm going to go another 13 minutes with all you guys. I'm going to go another 13 minutes and I got to run. I got a gig. I'm a drummer, musician. I got a show I think I start in an hour. And I don't even know where it is, so I really hope it's closer and rush hour traffic doesn't kill me. But, go ahead. We're going to go into 13 minutes. Go ahead and rapid fire. So the two topics today that I brought up that I knew you guys would all like would be the over-under. I would say 28.5 wins this year. I would absolutely bet the over, and I think DeAndre Ayton should be like an 80-81 in NBA 2K. If McCall has a nice season and we don't pick up a new power forward, we should start him and then pick up some. I think he'd move Josh Jackson to the 4. I think he would, and keep McCall at the 3. If McCall has a nice season, that's the bot. Yeah, I think Josh Jackson goes to 3 and Josh Jackson goes to the 4 and McCall stays at 3. I think Jackson's kind of got the better body to be a small power forward, a Sean Marion-esque power forward. Could be wrong, but I kind of think it seems to fit. Plus his athleticism. Do I think Lillard is gettable? Absolutely, but I think he's got to make it known I want out before Portland trades him. They're not going to just dump him. And so especially, I think what happens, it'd be twofold. One, it could happen during the season, maybe, and actually let me pull up his contract. It could happen in the season, maybe, if they just do not contend for the playoffs, which I can see absolutely happening. Somebody asked earlier, how did the Suns make the playoffs? And I said, somebody who's like currently guaranteed, like you're writing them a pen in your 2019 postseason predictions, that one of those teams fall out. The Lakers making me sick. Now they have LeBron. Now they're going to possibly better than us girls. Yeah, probably for now. I like Lillard Booker back. I think a Lillard Booker backcourt combo would be fantastic. So it would happen during the season if Lillard, if the team is just out of it early, and there becomes some tension and contention in the locker room, or it happens in the off season, even if they're competitive but miss the playoffs. And Lillard just kind of goes, you know what, I've been here for now. At that point, it will have been 7 seasons. And it's just like, in 7 years, you can't get me to the semifinals. I'm done. Please just trade me. So just think about this. He's under contract after this season for 2 more years at 29.8 and 31.6. So, and then it becomes an unrestricted free agent. I think if you can get him for 2 years to keep this team competitive, I do think that with Booker and Ayton, if Ayton does project, or does meet projections, Mikal Bridges maybe, if he's not part of a trade, I do think that Suns team makes, wins 50-plus, probably makes the semifinals at least once. I think you can re-sign him. But he'll be an unrestricted free agent come 2021, which is only 3 seasons away. If the Lakers miss the playoffs, I'll throw a party for us all. I'll go to the bar and everybody gets 1 drink. Water. Can Suns even get a superstar? Yes. Trade. Overall thoughts of Talking Stick Resort Arena? I like it. I don't think they should get a new arena yet. Well, that said, of the big 4 here in the Phoenix metro area, Talking Stick Resort Arena is the oldest. But I still don't think they should get a new arena yet. But, I can see, like, if they said, you know what, we want a new arena by 2030, that's only 12 years away, I could get behind that. Am I happy with Keys' progress over the last 2 years? No, I am not. And his summer league, not summer league, excuse me, the fact that he missed his summer league, and then that what was that game we played? That kind of charity game, whatever. Ugh. This team is only one complete only thing we need now is a new. That we now need a new owner. I don't know. I mean, I think Sarver's staying out of the way. He just paid Booker the max. He didn't horse around with it. You know, I don't know I don't know what we want. Think about the Clippers got that new owner and they've gone down. So it's kind of the devil, the Crawford League. Well, he looked good, but he was playing. He wasn't playing against pros. He was playing against us, and he was slamming it around like he was a superstar stud. And I remember at one point he shoved the ball in a guy's stomach. I mean, it's just whatever. I wish I hadn't even watched clips. If the Suns get a new arena, will it stay in downtown Phoenix? Oh well, I mean, I'm not a Phoenix City Council member, but I would presume that would be their intention. I think what they would do is they'd find another location nearby, let them play at that arena until the new one is built, then move them, and tear this one down and put in a parking lot or something like that. Do you think Chandler has more? Yeah, I think he's got one more season. He had he had handles against guys that weren't playing defense. I mean, I take 0 out of it. I take 1% to 5% out of the summer league when I look at, Josh Jackson didn't look good. I pay 5% attention to that. I pay zero, attention to Marquise Chris in that Crawford league. I mean, that was absolutely nothing worth anything in my opinion. Who plays defense anymore? Okay, sure, but pros play defense better than street ball guys. It's just right there. I mean, Chris can't do what he did in that Crawford league in the pros. He can't. Guys will get in his way. I mean, Tyson Chandler sure ain't going to let him do it. Guys that are fighting for their lives, their NBA lives, Alan Williams wouldn't ever let Marquise Chris do what he did in that Crawford league. So, I mean, again, I just put no stock into it. It honestly means nothing to me. Truly no disrespect to Chris. I want him to succeed, and I've stated now for over a year, I want Chris to suck here, then succeed elsewhere. I want him to stay. I want to just, I want him to be great. He's a Phoenix Sun. I'm loyal to the Suns, therefore I'm loyal to him. I just put no stock in that game. None whatsoever. We are 32 minutes in. We're going to go another 8 minutes. Go ahead and please like, please retweet. Now the Raptors have Kawhi. Do you think we should have taken a flyer on him for a Jackson combo trade? Nope. I would not have. Kawhi. People complain, including myself, that Marquise Chris is a bit of a head case. Kawhi is off the charts. Kawhi is an off the charts head case. I was listening to No, it wasn't Dan Patrick. I was listening to this about a week or two ago, probably the day, a couple days after the draft. After the trade. Colin Cowherd. So he had somebody on. Colin Cowherd had somebody on that kind of recapped everything. He had on a San Antonio sports writer that recapped every step of the way. He was nuts. It was nuts, the stuff that Kawhi Leonard was doing. No, I wouldn't want to touch him. But Kawhi is a top 3 player worth a head. Not for one season. That's the key. He's an unrestricted free agent after the season. Rank the top 3 teams in the East right now. I go number 1, Boston. Number 2, Philly. Number 3, Indiana. What were your thoughts about the Raja, the clothesline? Oh, boy, it was one of the greatest moments in franchise history. Absolutely one of the greatest moments in franchise history. It was a great series. I mean, the fact they had to come back... Was that the... Yeah, that was the series where they had to come back down 3-1. That was game 5. He was suspended for game 6, which they won, I believe. Was that the Tim Thomas shot? Was game 6? And then they blew out LA in game 7 by 30, and Kobe just decided, screw you, Lakers. And what do? They get Powell, and they take off. We need Raja back. Well, we need the 2004 Raja, or 2005 Raja Bell, yeah. I don't want 2018 Raja Bell. He'd be no good to them. But, Davin Reed is supposed to be that kind of guy. So I'll take that. Davin Reed is supposed to be that kind of guy. And I hope he can be. All right, brother. I'll see you. I'm out of here in 5.5 minutes, too. Thank you, sir. I do this for you, brother. I do this for you guys. Go ahead. We're at 5 minutes left. Go ahead and please heart, please like, please retweet. We're live on Twitter, Periscope, YouTube, and Facebook. They are the same height. I did not know that, but that makes sense. And, I drew that correlation purely, just because he was the first name to pop in my head. But the logic behind it was strictly that Devin Reed coming out of college, supposed to be a 3-and-D guy. I mean, Devin Reed, let me see if I can pull up his college stats real quick. His, what did he average in college? 42% from 3. He averaged 39.5% from 3 in 4 years, and he attempted 512 threes. So I mean, that's a good number. That's a good sample size. His 4 years in college, he averaged, this is Devin Reed, 35.7, 45.7, only 81 attempts, but still 45.7, then 38.3, and then 39.7 on 199 attempts his senior year. So he averaged 39.5 from 3. Last year at the Suns, he only averaged 28.9. Although, I mean, he only averaged 38. So, do I think Rachel Nichols is a Suns hater? What did she say? I'm not sure. I'm not a fan of Rachel. I don't hate her. I'm not a fan of Rachel Nichols, but what's up, brother? Did she say something about the Suns? I didn't hear. I didn't hear it in particular. Where am I jamming tonight? That's a good question. It's at a fundraiser, so I gotta look it up. I mean, it's for my cover band, but it's for a friend. Going out to my man. All right, see you, brother. I'll be back next week. Which Suns players, legends, have I got autographs from? Legends, Connie Hawkins, Alvin Adams, Tom Chambers, Chuck Robinson. I have a few. She wants to see Devin on a good team. Feel sorry for him. Well, I mean, he's going to be on a good team this year. I just don't know if he's going to be on a great team. Where did I get the backdrop? Amazon. It's a blanket. It just, I liked it. I thought it was time for an upgrade. Benner needs to step up. Yes, he does. So does Marquise Chris. So does Josh Jackson. So does Devin Reed. So does I could go down the list, but yeah. No, but Benner does. I think he and Chris are basically playing for their Phoenix Suns lives. You know, for whatever reason they really truly want to be here, they've got to make an impression this season. That said, I suppose the worse they play, the less likely they are to be traded. Yeah, I love this blanket. I dig it. I love this backdrop. I gotta double check, though. Is the back? The back is a little less bright, but I might see that just so they can be, so you guys can read it forward. I like Devin Reed in the PJ Tucker role. Okay, so I would compare Devin more to Raja Bell simply because he's just a better shooter. So, I mean, I could make the argument that PJ Tucker was in the was in the Raja Bell role. Raja Bell came first, and PJ Tucker second, and now Devin Reed. So, now, let's also understand that they both were starters. I know that Tucker started, at least for a while. Raja, I believe he pretty much started every game he was with Phoenix. So let's see, Phoenix, he started all 254 games. Yeah, so he played 254 games with the Suns, started all 254. I know that Tucker started out as a reserve. Oops, I spelled puker. Sorry, brother. PJ Tucker, let's see, we just need a better... Yeah, I agree. Devin, I think, could be... I missed both of those. I'm sorry, I was glancing over here. PJ Tucker was generally a starter. 377 games, 286 starts. So that's the thing. Those are both starters. They were both starters, excuse me. I don't see Devin Reed being a starter on this team because he's going to be blocked by Devin Booker. I think Devin can be an Ariza-type player, yes, but as a reserve. Yeah, I think he could potentially rise to the level of backing Booker up, but I don't want that to happen this year because I want my boy Troy Daniels. Starting 5 is going to be Brandon Knight, Devin Booker, Josh Jackson, I do think still starts, Trevor Ariza, and DeAndre Ayton. 79 overall, DeAndre Ayton. 3-and-D, about 8 points. I would take that coming off the bench. Make 6 of those points threes, and the other 2 because his toe is on the line, and I'll take it. Especially because he's going to be the third shooting guard. Because Troy Daniels, in my opinion, is still second on the depth chart. It's just because he's proven. Devin Reed shot 28% from 3 last year. I want to say it was 28. Daniels can shoot, but not play deep. Yeah, but what you need from the bench is less defense and more offense. Because what you want to do is just have, if you have the lead, to keep the team, keep the lead, and if you have if you're not in the lead, to at least maintain the deficit. Well, they're gonna not be great. I don't really know about suck. I don't like Isaiah Cannon as a true backup point guard. By the way, I'm gonna be out of here in like 2 minutes. So let me make this last point, and then we gotta go. Then I have to go because I have to got the gig. So I mean, I don't like Isaiah Cannon as a long-term backup point guard, but I mean, he's gonna be okay. You're just hoping Brandon Knight can play 35 minutes, 32 to 35, and then let Devin Booker play a lot of point as well. Troy Daniels is gonna be a good backup shooting guard because he's gonna average 40% from three. TJ Warren is going to be a great scoring small forward because he's going to back up Josh Jackson. He's going to average 25 to 30 minutes still. Power forward it's not going to be anything special because of Dragon Bender and Marquise Chris, but backup center is still Tyson Chandler. So now you've got one of the best defensive backup centers. So you're going to have two really good scorers in Troy Daniels and TJ Warren coming off the bench, and then you're going to have a really good defensive center in Tyson Chandler. So they're not going to be great, but I don't know I don't know that they're going to quite suck. I want Booker to play 48 minutes. So do I. Cannon won't make the team, in my opinion. He very well may not, but just know then they don't have a veteran backup point guard, and they need one. So if they can find somebody else, then I would take an experienced veteran point guard over Isaiah Cannon. But remember, Isaiah Cannon has experience. He has starts. He has playoff experience, albeit only 3 games, but he started 2. But that's still 3 more games than I believe Brandon Knight. I don't think Brandon Knight's ever been in playoffs, but certainly it's 3 more playoff games than Devin Booker, Josh Jackson, TJ Warren, Mikal Bridges, Dragon Bender, Marquise Chris, and DeAndre Ayton combined. So there's 7 of your top 10 players, and none of them have a single playoff game. And Isaiah Cannon at least has 3, which means he's also in a playoff hunt. He understands how to do it down the stretch. So I don't like Isaiah Cannon as a long-term backup point guard, even for this season, but I do think he's got a good shot at making the team because who else are they going to have? I love Shaq Harrison as much as everybody else. He's a third point guard. He's not a backup. He's a spark guy. He's a break glass in case of emergency guy. I guess I liked Harrison better last year. I liked Harrison a lot, but Isaiah Cannon looked really good until that freak injury. We can't forget how good he actually did look. Last question from Mega. Phoenix Suns at the top of the West in the next 4 to 5 years. If by top you mean a number 1 seed, I don't know. But if by top you mean at least hosting a first round playoff series, meaning top 4, yeah, in the next 4 to 5 years, I could definitely see that happening. Absolutely. So, on that note, I gotta run, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me. I love you all. I do this for you. I'll be back this time next week, 6 p.m. Monday evening, Arizona time, as Warren here at the end of the season. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes at the end of the season. I don't know that he makes it into 2019-2020, though. I'm going to say yes, but, he will be here this year. So, I got to run. I love you all. I got this gig. I got to go. I didn't mean to sound like Dr. Seuss, but that just happened. So, I'll see you back here 1 week. Let's go Suns. Peace.